What we're going to do for the first move is just moving that ball in between our feet. We're trying to keep our hips over the ball and just moving the ball, manipulating it from side to side. So once you've done that 50 times, we want to go inside and then outside. Just very small touches from side to side. Just manipulating that ball backwards and forth. And once we get more confident, get really comfortable, we can actually incorporate both feet. So we're going inside, outside, inside, outside. Exercise number 3, all we're going to do is going to put our foot on top of the ball. We're going to roll it to our other foot, do the exact same thing back to the other foot. And then once we get comfortable doing this, you want to get in a bit of a rhythm so you can almost hop in between. So it ends up going a bit like this. So you're just rolling it back and forth. Now see if you can look up when you're doing it. You don't want to be looking directly at the ball. Get confident with it at your feet. So for this next exercise, exercise number 4, we're going to put our foot on the ball. We're going to drag it back towards ourselves at an angle, and then we're going to push it out with the inside of our foot. Then we're going to put our other foot on top of the ball, drag it back at an angle, push it out with the inside of our foot. It's called a V-cut. You can call it what you want. A lot of people call it a V-cut, but this is just a great move to get comfortable on the ball. So this is what we're looking for. Just dragging it back and pushing it out. So moving on into exercise number 5, it's very similar to exercise number 4, but it's not the V-cut, we're doing the L-cut now. So it's very similar. We're going to put our foot on the ball, drag it back, but instead of dragging it back at an angle, we're actually dragging it behind our leg, and then we're pushing it back to the other side. So we're dragging it back behind our leg, then with the same foot, knocking it in front of our opposite foot. So once you get rhythm going, this is what it should look like. So you're just dragging it back and then hitting it behind the other leg.
Okay, so the tips here are quite simple. You need to make sure that you start with the ball in your hands. We're going to turn with the ball, all right, and touch it into the space behind us with the outside of our foot or the inside of our foot. Just by getting your foot above the ball, it'll always stay down. That's a key tip there. So it can touch the floor, you know, and I can just guide it down. Imagine there's a defender on one side of you. You want to be turning away from the defender into the space, okay? If the defender's in front of us, we can get our body in the way and turn in the space behind us. Likewise, if the defender's on the right-hand side of me here, then I can make sure that I turn into the space this side by stepping in the way and moving. We need to make sure that we get used to touching the ball as it makes contact with the ground. Okay, it's something you're probably not familiar with from above you while turning, so you must make sure that you do practice this. Start with the ball low, throw the ball higher, you know, and as you get better, try and increase the distance.
So now we're going to talk about how we go at the fullback when we have some space, when we've received that pass and we've isolated the fullback one-on-one. To help me out with this, we've got Andrew from Boost Football, but he's going to be acting as the defender. Now what typically happens, what I see a lot with especially younger players, when they receive the ball out on the wing, they see a defender, and instead of going at the defender, they try and get away from him. They try and just take it end line, or they try and take it inside. But look what happens when I take it end line. I've just made it so easy for Andrew to defend me there, because all he has to do is try and keep up with me and stop me getting the cross in. Now I'm going to show you a more effective way that you can dribble at fullback and pretty much beat him more times than not. And I'm going to talk you through about what Andrew's movements are like as I dribble at him, just so you can understand better why this is so effective for beating players one-on-one. So let's go. So let's look at this again in slow motion so we can really see what's going on. As I approach Andrew, I'm straight on and I'm taking a small touch of the ball with every step to keep it tight to my foot. Now start to have a look at Andrew, the defender's body position. So he's trying to anticipate where I'm going. Because I'm going straight at him, he's trying to guess and he's forced to make a decision. So he thinks I'm going end line. It's shown in his body language with his hips and also his feet. Look at his feet, they're both pointing towards the direction he thinks that I'm going to go. So I've recognised this, so I've started to make a decision that I want to go inside, because that's the space that he's not marking. So as I make my touch, I put all my momentum behind it and get into a full sprint. Now have a look at Andrew's feet again. All his weight is going towards where he thought I was going to go, so he's completely off balance at this point. Now look at my body language. I'm completely putting all my momentum into the direction that I want to go. So that counteracting with his body language is going to allow me to get away nice and easy. Let's look at a different example now. So as you can see, I've took the ball the other way this time. So what's happened is I've started to make my move to go inside like I did the first time, but Andrew's tried to anticipate it because he's thinking that I'm getting predictable now. So now this space has become unavailable, but as I've kept the ball tight to my foot, I'm able to switch and go in the opposite direction. Because look at his body language now. He's tried to anticipate that I was going inside again this time. Both feet are pointing in that direction, so he's off balance again, and now my momentum's taking it to the opposite side. So again, makes it very easy to get away from him.